reduce it a bit because so that takes.
Think it's better? Absolutely. Yeah, of course. No problem at all. No problem.
Okay, everybody here. Most sit where Okay, guys, if you could just want to introduce Joe Walsh. If you he would say probably different, but I would say in 16 years' time, if you watch Ireland play in the World Cup, he'll probably be the coach. He's one of the very young coaches out here, but actually in a short period of time has had quite a bit of experience. I've coached with Mike Ruddock. I've been on a coaching camp with Warren Gatland, with the Lions. I've spent time with Joe Schmidt. I've spent time in France with Bernard Jackman when he was coaching Grenoble. So he's tried to improve himself throughout by going to all these other coaches. He's currently coaching an ACT team, which is senior cup team equivalent to you guys in Leinster, and would have coached in the women's game and so on. So in a short period of time, I've gained quite a bit of knowledge, and he's really one of the upcoming. He's also in the top 30 young guys with big futures ahead of them in rugby, not just in sport, but also in business. So fortunate again that he does coaching sessions with us. He does analysis for us, and so on. So Joe is gonna talk about probably a little bit of his beliefs as well, but show you again a lot of different examples of different defensive systems that's used in the northern hemisphere and probably in the southern hemisphere. So thanks, Joe. Okay. Yeah, no, he's 18. He's just 18. 20 on Monday. He's allowed to drink. Yeah.
Look, fellas, thanks for having me. It's tough to follow up from that anyway. It's kind of built me up to having a lot of stuff. Look, in no way am I trying to come in and give some sort of masterclass or grand presentation. The whole point of what I'm trying to do here really is show you some examples in terms of diagrams or in video of defensive principles as we see them here, defensive systems we see them here. Some stuff straight out of, say, the RRFU handbook on stage 4, stage 5 defence, some stuff that be interpreted the way you see it. So in terms of what we're going to look at, we've got about an hour and a half, loads of time. I'm going to try and encourage as much discussion, especially between you guys as well, not just from me to you, but encourage as much discussion and sharing all the knowledge we have on pretty much all these elements. So we're going to look at our principles of defence, essentially taking it from a point of view of where the RFU would stand and where we would stand generally as a set of coaches on the way we look to defend, and what's key for us, our core factors in defence. Looking at our blitz and drift and pushing that into, say, if we look at, say, more of an umbrella approach to our blitz, if we look at shooting, anything like that. Drift defence, which is slowly starting to fall more and more out of the game, but still there, especially in different parts of the pitch, more so than an overall style of defence. Watching ball and watching man as part of those. We'll look at our tackle process, post-tackle effort, and then our first phase. So loads of stuff to cover, pretty much everything in defence. Not going to look specifically at, say, line of defence, scrum defence, because obviously that probably more come in under our set-piece defence, but we'll look at strike defence. So, principal defence, as we look at them, just adapted slightly to make them easy to understand here. We look at really the connectivity, so working with your inside man, your outside man as you go forward, so whether you're drifting or blitzing, you're not just working as a one, lots of communication, working with your inside and outside man as a line overall, and that also brings in your back three as well as your connectivity between your wingers and your fullback. Your positioning then, so if you're drifting, obviously trying to square up or inside shoulder and push across. If you're going to blitz in, lining up on the outside shoulder, so where we position ourselves in relation to the attacker. Our line speed then, are we applying loads of pressure? Are we trying to get up and put them as fast as we can? Are we putting pressure on, checking our feet and then going again? Then our pressure, so pressure being pressure on the ball, pressure from the inside when we drift, pressure on the ball carrier all over as a defensive system. And then finally, then the ultimate goal for us as a defence is regaining possession. So I would always say personally, as a defence, you want to be a try-score defence. So you want to be in that mindset where we're not defending for just the sake of defending, we want to get the ball back. That's our goal at all times in defence. Alright, so I've just got a quick clip to show either a good example or a lack of example for all of the five. So easy example, which a lot of us have seen. Remember this try on the weekend? Just gone, so we're looking at Toy here in the middle. Connectivity as such as a lack of connectivity. Okay, so as we say, look for the blocking penalty, but as we say there, is that good connectivity or poor connectivity? Poor. So that's not a bad effort from the Toy in terms of going forward, trying to apply line speed. But if we're going to do that, of course, what's really important from this point of view, connectivity, is we all go together. So if we all went and he took his outside man, his inside man with him, well then we can force the error and we can make the tackle close to the breakdown there. So it's fine to do it, but it's about being connected as a three going forward. Okay, so we look at it again. If we go and we take these two men with us and we put the pressure on the inside, then we can actually make a tackle behind the game line. But it's the point of connectivity there. It's not just as such that blitzing was the problem in that scenario. We look at positioning, small micro detail here in Ireland versus Wales. Just look at David McCoy down here, if you can see him behind me, line up on the outside shoulder, coming in back towards the breakdown. Tackle tech maybe not superb, but what we're looking for here is continuing understanding of where we're trying to stand and where we're trying to position ourselves in relation to that attacker. So we look at it again, just in a slightly slower motion here. Square on, eyes on ball, and then positioning outside shoulder to inside shoulder, looking to come in and shut down space here. Okay, so we're just getting continuity and getting clarity on that, but we're looking to position ourselves the same way if we can every time we try to do the same thing. So if we're trying to blitz, we're always trying to position the outside shoulder. That's our principle, we always want to do the same thing. Okay? We'll look at line speed then. It's a very simple example of line speed. Close carry to the ruck. Pretty clear we're going to carry from this, but still important to apply line speed because that's going to be quite a physical carry. So we want to be sure we can get the game line up, angling in, working in a three, line speed through. Okay? It's line speed for 1 or 2 meters, but a lot of the time the urgency to get off the line in those 1-2 meters are the ones that make the difference for the next phase, because we're not giving them green quality ball there. Okay? Finally then pressure. There's good pressure here from New Zealand, but pressure inside out. Pushing, punting, pressure on the ball here, pressure in there. Just small from the New Zealand lock here, just even small detail. He knows he's not going to get this ball here, but by going into just make a little bit of a threat here, you're forcing those two in no matter what. By applying that pressure early doors, it just forces that support to come in and takes numbers out of the attack. Okay, final thing then, regain possession. Ultimate goal for every defence. Applying lots of pressure, looking to force the error, and if you can't force the error, looking to get yourself in a position to make a turnover. Okay, so obviously positive results for a team, winning a penalty, forcing an error, getting the ball back on a turnover. Turnover you could be talking about on the floor, tackling into touch, handling error backwards and collecting it. So ultimate goal then, regaining possession. Happy with that? Okay, simple as it. Those are the way we look defensive, and obviously we'll try and look at some principles overall later on. So we'll go straight into what seems to be the dominant, by far the dominant defensive style in World Rugby play, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. Spoke to Mike Ruddock and Andy Friend, the Connacht head coach, before the session about a week ago to get their views on it. And I said, okay, we're going to look at blitz and drift. What teams are using drift defences? And two of the top coaches in the game, I can't tell you a team that's predominantly blitz defence. sorry, predominantly a drift defence, because everyone at the minute is trying to apply ball pressure. Ball pressure and pressure on the man is the way that the game is tending to. Now, the game is cyclical, so if you go back 5 years, you'll see there be more of a drift focus. You go on 5 years, you can see more of a drift focus. The game goes in cycles. But as we are at the minute, especially in the World Cup, especially now, you're looking at a lot of high pressure, high intensity defence. So, core factors, core principles of blitz defence, lots of ball pressure. So we're always trying to get as hard and as heavy as we can on the ball, trying to shut the ball down nice and early. Outside to inside, so if my defender is this wooden strip here, the ruck is here, I'm trying to line myself up just on his outside. And I'm just starting my ruckus here, my outside foot forward, and I'm trying to angle myself back in. So our ultimate goal as a blitz defence is to get them back towards that breakdown, because that eliminates that inside threat. Make sense? Same thing with line speed, crucial. Trying to get it off the line as quickly as possible. And it's not just that, as we said, we're not just looking for that all-out sprint. Line speed for us can be that initial 2-3 steps. We get off the line nice and hard to put that pressure onto the defence, onto the attack, as we spoke about. We get the pressure on, then we can check our feet, and then we can go again if it's on for us to blitz further and go harder, or we can then push up and out if we have to. So line speed, as we said in that small clip of Ireland there where we had Healy and Toner getting off the line, line speed, the crucial bit of line speed is the first 3-4 steps. It's how we explode off the line. That's where the difference is made for us in terms of line speed. Okay, pressure, as I said, back towards the breakdown. If we can continuously push a team just back in towards their own breakdown, that's where we're strong, because our numbers that have just came from the last ruck are there. We're forcing them back into a channel they just attacked. Okay, if you try to attack with the same channel all day, you might make inches, but you won't make meters. Okay, if we can force them into those same channels, you can give them inches, you can afford to give them inches, you can't afford to give them meters. Okay, simple principle, line speed on, meet them before they get to your game line, you win the game line. Simple principle in defence, it's often overlooked. Just be clear on it with players and with other coaches. What do we want to do? Simple goal of blitz attack, blitz defence, or make the tackle behind the game line. We'll look at it later. I use a traffic light system when I'm looking at defence. So we have a red line where we are as a defence, we have an orange line where the 9 is, and we have a green line about 2 metres behind the 9. So we're trying to, at minimum, make that tackle in line with the opposition 9, on the amber or the orange or the yellow zone. So we're always trying to make the tackle there, and if possible, we make the tackle on the green line. So we make a tackle on the green line, we can actually go forward, and that's where we can get a counter ruck on. Yes?
So on the blitz defense, what would your focus be as a coach, or as you're coaching a team? Is it ball, receiver, or what do you look at? What is the trigger that you're going to be using to set up that?
So personally, the way I coach it, I have a ball focus. So I was a ball focus firstly. So what we're looking for is get our interior right, and then we're looking for our third defender is on ball. So we have first defender on pick and go, second defender on 9 or inside line off the first receiver, third defender on 10 or forward, whatever it is. What we're looking for then is just get into a real positive position. So obviously outside leg forward, trying to get them back into the breakdown, snapping the head back and forward. And our trigger then that we're looking for is we're just looking for our pillar then, who is obviously our 1, our closest defender to the ruck, closest man to the ball. We're just looking for our whole break. And as soon as we get our break, we're looking for 1 to stay, 2 to come level with the 9, 3 to pressure the ball, or the first receiver, and then after that we're pushing up and out. Okay, so our trigger is obviously our 1, calling our break, 3 hard steps from 2, 3 hard steps, then check our feet from 3, and then we just look to get level outside that, so we don't want to get past the ball obviously. Does that answer the question? Yeah? And then final thing is shutting the gate. Probably all heard that principle before. We're looking to just get outside them. So we don't want to get in front of the ball, and we'll look at that now and later on. We're going to look at the advantages and the disadvantages of this defence. But a big thing, a vulnerability rather of the blitz defence, is we can get over eager to get off the line. We shut the gate, but we can get too far ahead of the ball. And that's where playing over the top can be an option against the blitz defence.
Pushing inside the ball, are you?
Sorry?
You're pushing from inside the ball.
We're pushing from outside to inside, so back in towards the ruck. Okay, so on a blitz defence, we're lining up outside and bringing them back towards the ruck. And then on our drift defence, then we're lining up inside and pushing them towards the touchline. Okay, so we're going to look at a few examples. So I have a few clips here. Myself and Dan had a discussion about defence during the week. We were talking about this presentation. We said New Zealand consistently one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world. Fair statement. The teams that have came close to beating New Zealand or have beaten New Zealand, so Ireland 2018, Ireland Soldier Field, the Lions, are teams that apply pressure. Teams that apply massive amounts of ball pressure, force errors, force turnovers. Those are consistently the teams that come close to beating Ireland or come close to beating New Zealand or do beat New Zealand, who probably have one of the most dominant attacks. Okay, so we looked at a few clips for you there, hopefully you can see this all okay. So just a few clips, just in terms of the line speed that we're trying to apply. You'll see it here again, it's hard off the line, and we're not just going full sprint, we're going hard off the line, we're checking our feet here, then we can go again. So it's a small little check, and then we're coming off the line again. Trying to apply loads of pressure here. Bit of ball pressure as we spoke about again, took an extra man to that breakdown. Hard off the line, check, 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 keep going forward. Same principle here.
After dance,
Exactly, yeah. So it's hard pace, yeah, it's the same principle. Hard pace, check, 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 and then we make a decision. Do we go again? Do we sit there and make the tackle on this line, or do we need to drift off it? 3 decision-making factors. Again, check, check, check. So 4 steps hard, check our feet, make a decision then. Getting off the line nice and hard. Lots of ball pressure on the kick. Okay, those videos make example there in terms of what we're looking for, or what in general, what that looks like on this set of things. So, a few numbers I've done up for you there. Just took the game in isolation and just looked at the total times Ireland were in defence. So Ireland consistently applying blitz defence. Sometimes you'll actually see, if you watch closely, blitz defence is the kind of the core principle. But we'll see, and we see it later, if you get to the edge, rucks on the 15 that are going to the blind side, the use of that little soft drift towards the touchline is still there. It's not going to be, drift is not going to be a principle, but it's going to be main focus, go hard, and then we can drift off to the 15 if we wanted to just use that touchline. Okay? But important things to look at here. As we said, pressure the ball, get the ball back. That's what we want to do. Forcing 5 handling errors, winning 4 penalties. That's 9 positive outcomes just from those 2. You're receiving, say, favourable kick. We're forcing the kick and we're applying enough pressure to the kick that we actually get something we can counter-attack off, or something we can secure a ruck and play off. So if you just take these 3, you just take those 3, you've got a really positive set of results there. And overall then, you've conceded no tries, which is remarkable. You're forcing exits as well, which is always good. It means you're in a good field position. You're forcing exits, you're in the right part of the field. Simple as. Always, as a coach, I always measure that, because sometimes that can get lost. You just be tagging kicks, but how many times did you actually make them exit? Because if you make them exit, that means you got the ball down there and you put them under pressure. Okay? Simple principle, 25 positive outcomes, 11 negative outcomes. So if you have the time to do stats like that, I'll do a serious amount of numbers on my team because I'm from an analysis background. But I'll always look at, same as line out and scrum, how many did we win, how many did we lose? Attack, how many times did we make game line, how many times did we not? If you look at our defence as a whole, how many times did we get something positive out of our defence? How many times did we get something negative out of our defence? And it's a really easy thing. We'll talk later about how much stuff we show our players and how much stuff we show our coaches. You can do this much, but you show the players this much. That's all that matters to them. You know what's behind it, so you can have that discussion. If you're in a video meeting with a player right now, you can just go, yeah, 25-11, you pull a guy over afterwards. Now, by the way, you're the 10, okay? We only force 2 handling errors. We need to push harder as a defence. We need to organise earlier. And that's where you can bring your numbers in, especially as a coach, is to bring your defensive stats into it. If we have a quick look, this is stuff that is important. Why is it being used so often? Why do we see a blitz so often? It's very high risk, high reward. Okay, it's very notable. So if you're going to go hard, same principle where the toy came out of the line there. Regardless as to whether he's got men or not, even if those 2 had gone with him. Numbers down there, so if the ball went over the top, even if all 3 went, there's a scoring opportunity there as well. So when you come off the line, you apply hard pressure and you try to close the gate on the outside, it's a high risk, high reward scenario. If you make the hit, it's behind the game line. You've got go for it. If you miss the hit, they can play over you, they can play behind you, or they can kick it over the top. So as a philosophy, if you're going to apply it, connectivity and clarity on what you're doing, massively, massively important. Because if you don't have that clarity, that's where you can start getting kind of angles picked out of your defence. Forward momentum. What do you think I mean by forward momentum as a defence? If we're blitzing. So if you're going forward, what can you control? Where the ruck's happening, as well as that?
speed of play.
Speed of play.
Offside line, you match.
Absolutely. You're coming forward onto the offside line, yeah? What about the ball carrier? What can you control in relation to the ball carrier?
Force going to the offboard.
Pressure error. So if I make a tackle with the ball carrier going forward, I can control his body shape. So I'm going forward in defence, I make the hit, I win the physical battle. I can make the tackle the way I want to make the tackle because I've dominated the contact space. And when I've dominated the contact space, I can make the tackle, turn and roll, and open him up sideways for one of my players to get in and go for a steal. Or I can open him up laterally for my next player to come in and counter ruck, depending on what our philosophy is. So once you're going forward, and we'll look at a few examples again from that Ireland game now, of when going forward and winning that collision space means you can dominate the way that body moves. And if you can dominate the way that the ball carrier's body moves, you can dictate what happens to the ball. Okay, points often overlooked, and I overlooked it myself. There we are, control of body shape. Okay? Pressure decision making, we've said it before. So if you get off the line, even if you could be the worst tackling team in the world. Or sorry, yeah, you can be the worst tackling team in the world. If you just get off the line, you line up the right way, you apply lots of noise, lots of connectivity, and just get off the line, one of you will make a tackle. Okay? Obviously our goal is to have good tackle technique, good defensive principles, and a good knowledge, but just having the ability to pressure decision making takes away their ability to play ball. Okay, so if you've got regardless, say you've got 10, you've got a pack of forwards outside. If I start shutting the gate on these pack of forwards on the outside, and the defence starts shutting me, I'm out here trying to pass across. If I see that gate shutting on the outside, I'll probably have a 99% chance of making that pass. But just seeing that pressure come on, pressures my decision making. You pressure decision making, you pressure the psychology of the player, you force errors. That's when a pass goes too low, pass goes too far in front, we force a knock on. So the visual image of blitz defence, massively important. Forces our errors. Okay, so we force errors, we force drop balls, we force knock-ons. Okay? Last thing then, reduce time on the ball. So if we sit back and we're passive, and we wait for the attack to come at us, we're giving them time to manoeuvre. We give the outside players a chance to change their line. We give our ball carrier time to draw more than one defender. If we again win that battle, and we win the physical battle, and we've won that space, we've given them less time on the ball. And that's why when we say catch the ball early in attack, and the guys have probably had a catch pass session already, Dan will always say, and I'll always say, catch the ball early, which we all probably coach. Catch the ball early, because the longer you have the ball in your hand, the more you can do with it. Same principle here. The longer you give these guys the ball in their hand, the more they can do with it. So we need to take that away from them by getting in their face and winning that physical battle. Does anyone have any questions on that page in terms of what we're looking for there in blitz?
Yes, to have the blitz, we need more numbers in defense. So from the inside, after the breakdown, you want players coming from inside to make more numbers and always blitz. So how do you control it in some parts of the field to avoid that eventually too many
getting
one
short?
side? Yes,
My philosophy on it would be, when we're blitzing, we're trying to prevent play getting to the outside. So no matter what, if we blitz, a negative outcome for us as a blitz defence is the ball getting to the far side. Because that means we haven't done our job. If the ball gets to the far touchline, we haven't been in effective defence. What we're looking for is what the advantage of the characteristics of blitz is. Those outside players shouldn't be a factor. So that's why I say watch ball. So say I've got 4 players here attacking, 5 players out here. If we blitz hard here and we shut the gate on the outside, these players don't matter because they're irrelevant. We've shut the gate, we've controlled the play. Okay? So I personally don't believe that you have to be numbers up to run a blitz defence. Because if the inside 5-6 guys do their job, so we've got pillar, we've got our 9, then we've got ball, tips pass, pull pass, screen pass. Simple ways we've got the forwards. The guy on the ball, the guy for the plus pass, the guy for out the back, and the guy for if they skip the whole thing. All we have to do is watch the ball. Where's it going? Right, that's far too fast to be going to the front. That ball's not going to the front. I'm watching the ball, it's going deep. I know I've got to go. And that's where I shut the gate on the outside. So if we're numbers on, or even numbers down, and we decide to blitz, the important point is our spacings. So if we get too narrow, that's a problem. We man on, outside shoulder, and we go. So for me anyway, if we're numbers down by 4 or 5, then yeah, we've got to push. We've got to push 4 or 5 down. But if I'm numbers on, or maybe 2, 3 down, we can still go pretty hard. Unless we've got, you've got 78 meters of space and you've got everyone in 20 meters, which we're hoping we never have. Okay, does that make sense? That's my philosophy on it anyway, and the way I look at it. So, good example, just show you some examples here where we're forcing errors. With our line speed, with our pressure, with our aggression. Again, outside shoulder, watching the ball. Forcing the, looking to make some pressure on the ball here, that's okay. Up, check, go again. Force the error. Up, check, force the error. Shutting the gate on the outside, taking his options away. Understanding who's on who. Watch ball, watch ball, watch ball. Check, watch. Up, pressure on again, force the error. Yeah, and that was actually, and actually you'll notice there, 2 of those knock-ons, same knock-on at 20 minutes and 80 minutes. Okay, because from pressure. When do you think they drop the ball? When they do what?
Look up.
So like I said, all you have to do is apply line speed, and then all of a sudden you're looking, and I always say, yeah, just make sure you're watching, catch the ball, just catch the ball first, whatever you do. And it happened in the Ireland-Scotland game there, it was in the paper, they were talking about it. I think it was Hogg was taking the ball, and Stockdale just comes flying up at him, and if you watch the video, Hogg just goes and looks at him, and then Hogg just drops the ball. Because he takes his eye off. And that's the level of pressure we want to apply. We want to get to the point where teams are looking at us because they're afraid of that smash that's coming in. It doesn't matter if it's a 9 on a 1. If you have that speed coming into it, speed wins that battle every single time. Because you can get a good tackle technique on, you've got more power going in, and you've got control of where they're going. So we're always, and the same principle here. This is what we're talking about. So just watch here really specifically the way Ireland are in their 5. So are we going to go 90 pace off the line? We're going to go pretty hard, but we can't afford to, force the gate shut on the outside because we're so close to our line and our backfield is so shallow. So what we're looking for is hard off for that meter, prevent the easy carry or the easy momentum, and then look to manipulate it to where we can get our poachers over the ball. Okay, especially with Ireland, we've got a decent few poachers on the field at this time. So just watch how we manipulate the shape of the ball carrier. Turning, getting them side on. We're not letting long body, okay? No long body clear, no long body rooks. Manipulate. He's this way. Look how slow this ball is coming back. Manipulating the shape of the ball carrier. Even if we don't get it, we slow down the ball. Turn the shape of the body carrier. No long body presentations. Wide rooks. Here we go then. Straight over that, slowing it down. Still making no gain. Straight off the line, 2 over. Same again here. This is the clip we showed. We'll just focus on the shape of the ball carrier. Turn, side on, 2 over. Make sense? So,
you don't want a long presentation.
Never, because that's a quick rook and it doesn't allow us to compete. It gives us nothing to get our feet under. Pressure, ball shape, straight out.
Is that why teams have started pass kicking much more? Because the blitz defense shuts down very effectively.
Yeah, so we'll look at, actually, it's pretty much the next slide here, is that when we go hard, when we spoke about connectivity at the start, connectivity isn't just the 3 guys or the 4 guys that are working on the inside, it's the connectivity between the line, the scrum half, and the back 3. So what'll happen a lot of the time with the kicking is, guys are coming hard, but those back 3 are still sitting where they were. So the gap between them, here's our defensive line, here's our back 3. Okay? What's happening in the game at the minute, and that's why attacking kicking is becoming a lot more, is these guys are coming forward, but these guys are sitting. So we get a wider gap then, and it's more advantageous for us to we'll stick the kick here, and just let it bounce.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Right over.
Exactly.
Over here with pressure.
Absolutely. So what we're looking for is, our 9, in general play, a lot of the time, 90% of the time with blitzes now, you'll have your 9 shadow the rook and then fill in if there's a gap that's must fill. Conor Murray, Faf does it a bit as well, into the line if we need it. But what we're looking for is front line, scrum half mirroring the ball, 2 in the backfield usually, on the 15s. And then if we have that attacking kick come in, we should be closing the gap as soon as possible. In my opinion, I remember about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even more, everyone said Rob Kearney was had to go, like worst fullback in the world, get rid of him. And I remember I kept saying, no, just wait, he's the safest man under a high ball. And why Rob Kearney's so effective, and why he's probably, in my opinion, one of the most, if we lose him for the World Cup, I'd be saying it's a bigger loss than most other positions, is you have the ability to manage the distance, know when to come forward, know when not to, because when you, give me a time when maybe you don't want to come forward as a back 3, when do you not come further forward? So at what point, so remember we said we want to make sure that if our front line goes forward, our back 3 come forward with them. At what point would our back 3 not come any further forward?
It depends on the field position, I would say. So
when
you go into their 22, or they attack from their 22, it's like your back 3 further back for the relief kick.
That's exactly it. Exactly. So good fullbacks don't just understand how to work a defence, they understand at what point am I expecting a 40-metre kick for touch that might not make it, when am I expecting a 30-metre up and under, and when am I expecting a little dink over the top that I need to get and slide for. So that's why we're looking at that gap. So absolutely, they're trying to split that. So that's what we're going to look at now. Where is it vulnerable? So if you're attacking it. So this is really importantly, I just say unlocking defence is the biggest part of the modern game.
Yeah.
The blitz defence is there. A lot of rugby league coaches now moving into rugby union because in league blitz is defence. It's just get off the line and hit them as hard as you can. It always has been. And that's why we're starting to see league attack coaches starting to sign into the rugby union. Okay? So these are our 4/5 ways in general that you beat the defence. There's obviously more ways that you can beat them with, say, phases around the corner, narrow them up and go around. But specifically, because of the way it's ran, there's some very specific things we can do. So this is going to be our diagram that we're going to use for blitz and for drift. So a very simple pitch map, middle of the park, 12 on their feet, 2 in the backfield, and then 1 on the floor. Okay, black is always going to be our rule. Okay, blitz defense, coming into that space. Okay, outside to inside. They come forward, and this is what we're speaking about here. These guys come forward. We have a 9 in the line. These fellas don't move. There's our space. Right behind that defensive line. Okay, and especially if you've got those speedsters in your team, so you've got those little sprinters that'll give you 15 meters of pure burst energy. It's about getting those guys into that prime space where you get them running 2 channels out from your kicker and angling in towards the ball. Okay, say we fix that. So say we start with that. So I can say to my 10, right, first thing I want you to look at is, I know they're going to run a blitz. First thing I want you to look at is, are they leaving a bit of space in behind? Is there disconnect between the back 3 and the line? Okay, they fix it. We've done it once, made a line break, they've adjusted. They've decided to put their 9 in the backfield now. So 9 is covering that chip space, because obviously as the ball moves from right to left, we're looking probably as a shadow of the ball. Again, just something for me personally, I would always tell my 9 to run at about a 30-degree angle. Okay, because, now not 45, because then if the break comes here, you're gone. But just a 30-degree angle. Because it just gives you then, if there is that half break, you can get a shoulder on. Because you are that kind of, it's sort of first line defence, second line defence, first half defence. It's just in between there. What we're looking for here is, remember we said about shutting the gate? Yeah. Make sense of the principle? So say we've got players out here, we've got a pot of forwards, we're trying to shut the gate. If we get over eager there, principle defence, you'll always hear it, and you've heard it a few times, don't get past the ball. Because if you're past the ball, you can't do anything. You're ineffective. So if we get over eager here, that's absolutely fine if the ball carrier is here. So if I'm here as a ball, if he's there as a ball carrier, yeah, shut him down because he can't get any passes away here. He's a metre away. But if he's here and we shoot down too early, we've got that over the top play here. So all it just takes is just to wind it up and just play it over the top. And it doesn't have to be that beautiful of a pass, it just has to be over the top. Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the example I would have used. And going over the top, because Winger's here. He's coming forward as the play moves. But you're still going to lose a minimum 20 metres here as that winger comes forward. Because that winger is anticipating the tackle to be made there. And then in 2 seconds, the ball is here. You're the best winger in the world, you're not going to get up that fast. Okay, next one then, inside dog leg. So, part of blitz defence is almost a shoot. It's that eagerness to get off the line, okay? What was the first principle of defence? So if we blitz, you've got to bring your inside and outside with you. It's that simple. Even if it's just, so for me, like I said, my belief, 1 metre forward, just cover the pick and go, or the little, we just call it a yellow ball. 9 picks it up and plays it to the inside, little runner. You've seen that a few times before. Very common. And works. Works at schools level. Scrum half, first receiver, tips option, pull pass, screen pass. That's the way I'd set my defence up. So what's important here is who would be our blitz defender? What number?
Third guy.
1, 2, 3, 4.
3.
3. On ball. So our danger is if we have blitz, pressure, and we get a dog leg. So this guy gets lazy.
Huge problems.
Here's our space. Okay? So we're looking then, when we're playing against blitz defenses, change of angle is massive. We change angle. So easy there. If it's an outside dog leg, we can switch it. If it's an inside dog leg, it's as simple as using your open side winger here. So Rook's on the 15, open side winger's afloat. He's just in behind the ball. Defense is aggressive. Winger comes in off his wing, just shout option, option, option. Play it back to the inside. 10 just runs at this shoulder. Interest this defender.
He's lazy already, so he's not going to be interested, he's not going to push, and we can just tips it back to the inside. So that's why when we're talking about our defence, we have to make sure we're connected. I would say, be interested if you agree, I would say I'd rather have everyone here than 4 of us here and 1 of us there.
Yeah.
Because we're connected. We might not win as many metres back, but we're not going to concede a try-scoring line break. Is that generally agreed?
100%.
So, opposite to that. We go forward, we get over-eager. On this side, we play 10, 12, what kind of line can we hit?
You can hit an inside line, so you can hit the gun outside coming short.
So a really short hard line,
Yeah,
or we can even play a nice little switch line there, play across the front of them, lay it back on the inside, there we go, through that gap there. So again, connectivity massive. Same principle, just the other side. Width and depth. When we talk about drift defences, we've got to play quite flat, because it's the shortest way to get the ball there. We talk about blitz defences, we've got to play with depth. What's the danger of playing with depth?
Getting caught down the game.
Absolutely. So that's why when we're playing against blitz defences, we want to make sure we use 2 lines of attack. So we don't want to, if we just have 10, 12, 13, forward, 15 winger, you're going to get smacked about there. Because you've no decoy, you've no screen. So I would have a simple shape, we call it diesel shape. Just 2 forwards, and we can just play here to out the back. We can play here to the forward and pull. And it just gives us that interest, these defenders. We just want to interest as many defenders as possible. As many defenders as possible. So we want to go at the back here. You can beat a blitz defense with the inside-outside dog leg by just using 2 or 3 players. You can't get into this channel without using some sort of 2 lines of attack. That's what we're looking for. See that play there? So for me, I used to call it a bang. So banging out the back. So we've got, say, a master alarm for your 10. That's what I call a bang. So this is our 10 here. He sees the space on the outside, got a forward pod set up. The priority might have been, let's crash it up here, and let's just carry. But he sees that space, yes, bang, bang, bang. Forwards get out of the way, take it out the back, play on. You've interested all of these defenders. Make sense?
Yeah.
Last one. I'm sorry, what was the last one? So, any questions or any comments on those?
So the key with the 2 forwards there
Let me go back. Yeah.
is to basically stay available as options as long as possible till that ball disconnects from the hand of the 10.
Absolutely.
Then they can die out as
Absolutely.
possible.
So say you keep this shape, so we can do that, or we can have a point. We've seen all those pods before. We can play here to here, and we can carry. We can play here, here, and pull. We can play here. We can play straight across the face to the second player. The whole point of having shape, and the reason why we have shape, is because it interests defenders. If you can stay as an attacker alive for as long as possible, you're sitting down as many defenders as possible. And that's what makes it hardest for us. If I was to get you to write down what would be the golden thing for you, if a defence, you're running a defence, what would be the best thing in the world for you if an attack didn't do it? I would say that they didn't play 2 lines of attack. If an attack just played as a flat 15 all day, I would love it, because all you have to do is just square up on someone and just go. Doesn't matter how many switches or loops or hard lines you run, always going to be someone there. Okay? That answer your question? That makes sense? Yeah. Right, let's go through that again. Okay, so watching ball. If you're on blitz, the problem with watching man here is you're trying to go from inside to outside. So I'm here. Here's the ruck, I'm trying to push them back this way. But my opposite man is likely to be there. So if I'm watching man and I'm trying to pressure them back towards a breakdown, I'm doing this. Complete disconnect. So when we're blitzing, we're looking to be aware where the ball is at all times. Remember we said the first principle of blitz defense is ball focus. Where is the ball? What are we going to do with it? So we keep the ball focused, we take that immediate threat. So those 2 forwards that we're playing off 9 there, on that shape diagram, that'd be our immediate threat. So we're looking, as a defence, I'm going to show you a clip after, and I can show you all the heads of every Irish team on that game against New Zealand. Every single head from 10 out, watching the first forward. Because that's the threat. The threat is where the ball is. No one else can score a try. It's that simple. The threat is where the ball is. So if we can shut down the threat, and that's where I go back to what I was saying there, if I focus on the 3 guys that are an immediate threat and shut them down now, these guys don't matter. Because they're not on the ball. This is what we're saying here. If you shut down that immediate threat, they don't matter because they're not being used.
Unless you play back.
If they play, yeah, exactly. So if they play back, then that's why everyone comes up, check, check, check. We see the pass going out the back. We shut the gate on the outside. as aggressively as we can, then we shut them down on the outside. Okay? That's our principle. So if they play out the back, so we're looking at that shape, it's awareness as a defense then. If we get too narrow as a blitz, that's when it's dangerous. If we end up with spaces this big and they play out the back, well then we've wasted 6 guys doing a job that 2 guys could do. We've got to get our spacings right as a blitz. It should have those even spacings across the park, slightly narrower for maybe the first 5, then after that we can widen it up to maybe 5-6 meters space, so that when we do go hard, we've got decent spacings, we can angle in then. If I start this far away from my guy, can I angle back in towards that rug? No, because I'm in his space. So I start a little bit wider so I can go hard that way. I can apply the outside shoulder pressure. So that's the core principle of blitz. Bring it down to one thing. The ball's not moving, and the ball's not being attacked forward, there's no tries being scored. Any questions on any of this? So, quick example. There's our first receiver. That's the shape we're talking about really, isn't it? He's got a little minus option there, but other than that, there's your forward, there's your tips, there's your pull, there's your play at the back. Which player is on the ball? Can you tell who that is? I know who it is. That's defending.
Oh, defending.
That's Dev Towner. Okay? He's on ball. Fair enough? Next player out would be on tips. So next player out would probably be here.
Sorry.
No, he looks inside.
Sorry?
He looks like it's inside that guy, not outside.
Yeah, he's watching.
First no, he's on the receiver.
It's kind of hard to see Everton from here. He's third, second, fourth.
No, he's just saying that it doesn't look like he's outside. But
Oh, sorry.
The ball carrying might be
Too
drifting.
close.
So you can start a little bit wider here. That's fair enough. If I was to rewind it slightly, because it's kind of just a still video, still clip here, not a video. If you rewind it slightly, what we've done here is we've been actually caught. Just see how many numbers are here. We were caught slightly narrow here after a few tight phases. So these guys are folding. So we're not in prime position to blitz there really.
Okay.
Because we're folding around the corner and our first movement on the fold is here. So we're just caught slightly narrow. Okay, but again, you could start slightly wider. You just want to start, I don't want to start, if you're my attacker, I don't want to start any wider than this. Like, my inside shoulder to his outside shoulder. Any wider than that, and then we're changing angle running 45s. And then as soon as someone cuts an angle, I'm in trouble. Yeah. Just outside shoulder to inside shoulder. That's perfectly fine. And then it just means I'm one step away from a tackle. Okay? Because if we get any wider than that, we're just risking then those angles being able to cut us off as we push up. Okay? But again, just, I don't know if you can see it as well as you can see the laptop, but every head is turned in. There's Bundyaki, he's looking at the ball. Ball, ball, ball. Every head will watch a ball here. That's probably where they should be looking. That's the difference. Here's where we are looking. Here's where, by definition, we should be. He's on ball, so I'm going to watch the tips because I'm the next player. I'm going to watch them going at the back, and then I'm going to watch the next man on the outside. Same principle again on the next one. This was the rook previous. We're caught short here. We've a load of numbers on the blind side. These 2 sides are backwards. Okay? But again, ball, tips, pull, eye line. Looking in, looking in, looking in, looking in, looking in. Again, that's where we should be looking. Focusing on the man opposite us. So that's why our ball focus, when I say should be looking, I mean by definition, man on man on man.
No,
Exactly.
okay.
So that's why we watch.
No.
Huh?
No, I was going to say, but no, you should be watching the ball.
Absolutely.
And then, okay, check here's my threat, but you're watching the ball because
Absolutely.
he's not a what's name anymore for ball fast.
There's no point in Ringrose being overly interested in our winger or whoever this is because the ball's over here. He's not a threat. He's a threat when the ball's in the air. When the ball's left his hands, then he becomes a threat, and that's when we go hard. So any questions on blitzes before we move on to drift? Drift's kind of short, not much in it.
When your 9 is attacking the first receiver.
Yep.
When your 9 is defending the first receiver because he was on that side of the scrum.
Oh, sorry, scrum defense. Like first phase scrum.
Yeah, first phase scrum. Who covers that chip then?
So what we're looking for is, if we've got our 9 defending the scrum, on the blind side, so 9 always be on that blind side, obviously, is the way the scrum's working, right? We want our winger back pushing across. I always say if we start slightly deeper, if they chip through, that 9 should be tracking across late. So we'll have a fullback or a blind winger, depending on where we are on the field, will be tracking forward. So if they chip over the top, you'll have back 3 at some point coming forward, because as that play moves across the field in the pendulum, this guy is coming forward. Because it's obviously doing this,
So as he comes forward, that chip space, it's rare enough that you chip straight in front of you, because you obviously want someone run on an angle. You want the ball in the air for as long as possible, that you intercept that way. So if that ball is going across the park, that blind winger or open winger that's coming forward is going to be channeling into that space. Other than that, we can wrap around our line if we want. If we think we've got a disconnect, you can wrap around your line, but not really necessary a lot of the time. That's why obviously if you're chip, you're going to blitz hard. The first thing you do is, if I've got, it's kind of hard for me to, say the scrum is here, okay, and I've put my winger around here, the ball goes this way. As soon as the ball's gone this way, the first thing I'm doing as a winger is doing that. It's the first thing I do, because I want to give this 15 license to go here and this winger to go here. So that's why this guy here is going to be taking that angle. So he should be in that space to get in there and help out 15 if the chip comes in. We'll have a look at a load of first phase stuff at the end as well. Does that answer the question then?
So your coaching is all just scenarios. When you coach that, all these different types of defenses, you're doing it in scenarios?
Is that like the blitz or is that the first phase?
The blitz.
Blitz phase, like the way I'll coach it is start small. So I'll just have a sausage bag on the floor, 5 guys on this side of the bag, 5 attackers, 4 attackers, and just blow the whistle, come around, number off, number off, number off, and then literally coming forward, and it's working on firstly on the chat. So firstly on the positioning, get the shoulders right. So have one coach behind the line. So here's my defense came around. One coach behind the line just watching. Is he lined up on the right shoulder? And then it's small. Okay, he's lined up, he's not. Small little chat. Then it's about connectivity, getting them used to, okay, I'm the 3 and pulling that forward with them. And then literally I just go from small to big. So always start small, get the interior right, and then work out. And then we just, if you can afford to do 15 versus 15, then just literally have the same team attacking. Sorry, same team attacking, same team defending for 3 minutes. Because when you do that, you stress test defense. And if you can stress test defense, the more you do that, the better you are in games. Dan was talking about Zim with Ireland. Zim with Ireland there, ironically enough, 2 years ago when they were going to Japan for their warm-up tour. So the kind of the warm-up tour for this World Cup 2 years ago. And do you remember when Ireland nearly beat New Zealand about 3 years ago in New Zealand? How did it finish? How did New Zealand win that game? Remember?
I know it was an extra time, but they scored in the corner.
Scored in the corner. Went through about 2 3/4 minutes or something like that of the continuous tackle play. And just went fade, and then scored in the corner. Joe Schmidt does a drill called a cage, where all they do is same team attacking, same team defending, starting on 1 of 3 rucks on the 22, full whack attack, full contact attack defense for 3 minutes, continuously, and you'd be surprised how quickly that destroys it. Because every time the ball is dropped, or every time that the attack scorer tried, whistle goes, new breakdown. 3 seconds to play that ball from the breakdown is an attack. And the focus with defense is intensity under pressure, and trying to just execute and stay cool under pressure. So if you can try and replicate pressure in your training sessions, especially in defense, you're going to be much more tuned into the game. Because I always say I have a pet hate for coaches who run attack against no defense. Like running against there. Same thing with defense. I can't teach you how to defend if you're not looking at a realistic target. So I know guys who will coach defense. It's a Tuesday, they play on Sunday. They're coaching defense. What are you doing? Okay, I'm gonna, try and get my lining up right, get our pressure on. Okay, grand. Yeah, we're gonna do tip, and we're gonna tip below the waist, and then we're just gonna back off. And I'm like, and then you just watch, and it's quiet. There's nothing. So you replicate that noise, and even you as a coach bring in energy as a defensive coach. You have to bring energy. So it has to be just even going around, just marshalling guys around the corner. Just telling guys, mate, get off the line, get off the line. During the game, I'd be dead silent. I'm dead quiet on a game day. I'd say very little. I'll just talk to guys one-on-one. But in training, pushing guys around the corner, getting aggressive with them, getting them into position, and then you'll just see it then as a coach. It brings the level up. And you just get that intensity level up, makes a massive difference there.
Yeah, but I was doing that, and at some stage I just told myself that I need to back down because I
Absolutely.
need my 9 to do the talking.
Absolutely. So what you're trying to do is, you're firstly trying to gauge the general energy level. Is it there? So if the energy level is there, then then we're happy. But we start pushing it then, and we're trying to just pick certain players. I would usually pick 2 or 3 players in a training session that I want to bring that general confidence up with. So there's certain guys maybe who are great tacklers but not confident enough to go for it. They're waiting for that. They're kind of buying time, trying to get that tackle assist in. So focus on those 2 or 3 players.
I'm going to focus, I'm going to give energy to this guy. And I'm going to give him confidence to get off the line, and give him confidence to go forward. But like you said, your 9 has to be the most aggressive and the most annoying person on the pitch. So you can even just work with that guy. Like I said, you have the luxury of having multiple coaches. One guy running the game, one runs attack, one runs defence, one does individuals. That's for me what your gold standard should be. One refereeing or running it, one coach the attack, one coach the defence, and then one either runs the breakaway drill. So if we're doing a defence session and there's tackle tech problems, you and you go do tackle tech with Mark. And for 2 minutes they do breakout tackle technique. And then they come back in. And the next 2 that didn't do well the last time go over and do breakout tackle drills. And then if we have a problem with everyone, then we stop the whole thing and we all go and do tackle drills. Same principle, we're not going to do that. That 4th guy, you say, right, let's make sure we've got energy at 9 and we've got pressure at the pillar spot. Their only focus as a coach then, or your only focus as a coach, is to focus on those small details. You're just following the 9. Why are you not telling him to move? Why are you not telling him to go? Push him around the corner and give him direction. But you're absolutely right, 9 has to be on it the whole time. There has to be given energy. Yeah.
Just on your blitz, where does your folding players go to?
2, for me 2. So pillars, look, it's a philosophy, it depends on the level really. Like, I just believe you can say shortest route and go into 1 and push out, but for me, you leave that 1, because look, 1 is the shortest route to the try line. It's the way I coach it, it's the way it's so important. The 1 spot is the shortest route from here to the try line. So I always go 2 to 2. Second guy to second guy. So 2 comes in, pushes the current 2 out. So the guy who was on 9 is now on first receiver. And then we just all push out 1 spot.
And then just last part,
Yep.
how are teams now breaking down the blitz defense? Because the one thing I noticed over here is the blind side is still standing, while the open side is blitzing. So does that mean there's a lot of switching plays and it's coming into attack nowadays? Or how do teams nullify this?
There's a lot of change of angle. So, like I said, you're trying, a lot of the time, like that's why I say connectivity is so important for us as a defence. The one thing you're trying to cause as an attack is disconnection. You're trying to make them disconnect. So that's why, like we said, cut a hard angle. We go tight and wide out the back. We play our loop plays. Like you see it doing all the time with Ireland. Breaks down blitz defences really well. 10, 12, 13. 10 plays to 12. 10 goes out the back. 13 goes hard. This guy has to make a decision. And if we execute it at speed and at the right time with the right numbers of defence in front of us, if the 12 comes in, well then you play it at the back. If the 12 goes out, then you just hit the 13. That's because we're changing angle. So we're not just trying to play screen, pass, dummy, switch, pop. We're trying to change angles as often as possible. So Ireland's big thing, you'll see it again, like I'd recommend if you're thinking about how you beat blitz defences, when Ireland beat Wales in the Aviva in our last warm-up test, about 3 months ago, just watch how often he goes hard and he goes out the back. Because at that point, the drifting defender, when their number is down, has to make a decision. Am I going to stay on this guy that's coming really hard towards me, or am I going to push onto this guy who's out the back? And by us changing angles then, we're forcing that defence that they have to bite on someone. That's where, and then obviously the attacking kicking game is massive as well, trying to pick those disconnects. Does that make sense? Have you know? Okay, so we'll fly through drift or push defence.
Sorry,
Yep.
if you did this same question,
Yeah.
what do you do? When the players are folding from the inside, does the pillar shifts and or stops and one enters up?
I leave the pillar.
Leave the pillar.
I leave the pillar and then go to the 2 spots. So go to the guy who's defending 9. And the guy who was defending 9, they're defending the ball. That was the way I do it anyway. Drift and push. Aside from ball pressure, more man pressure. Putting pressure on the guy we're defending. Putting pressure on the inside all the time. So trying to keep hunting high. Opposite then, we're lining up either square or, so if we're drifting this way, either square or just slightly to the inside. We don't want to get too far to the inside because then we're just susceptible to getting burned on the outside. So if we can stay sort of, I would just say shoulder to chin would be the way I'd sort of defend. We never want to let ourselves get past that point because that's when we just get stepped back to the inside. We just want to line up there. So we're inside shoulder somewhere, lined up somewhere between here and here. Obviously that being the outside. So if it's the inside, my inside shoulder to here, and somewhere between there and there. Gives us a chance to make a tackle, doesn't allow us to get burnt on the outside. Connectivity inside and outside, more important even on a blitz, on a drift, because we're moving at such pace that keeping our spaces, and even if you've got a 15 and a 1, this 15 can't hammer its way out here because you're just going to have this disconnect. So it's connectivity of knowing, if we're going to drift, who's beside me.
Okay, I've got a prop this side, I've got a full back this side, and I'm a 13. Once the ball leaves this channel, we can go pretty hard, but we have to soften up and work together until we get to that point where the ball's pushed out. Again, teams here, like New Zealand, will use this at times kind of around 20 metres in from the touchline because they want to use that jackal threat. If you're going laterally, you're making a tackle side on, the body is going down this way, the next man can come straight back in and is usually very, very close for that post threat. And then again, you're forcing east to west. So you're trying to just force them to go laterally. Prevent line breaks. Just force them left to right, until either they make an error or you put them into touch. That's as simple as it is really with a drift defence. You're not really trying to force errors on a drift defence as much as you are on a blitz. Where are we using it? Not really that much. Okay, still places that we are seeing it. Okay, around 10-20 metres on the touchline where the ball's coming towards the edge. Okay, so if this is our pitch, here's our 15 metre. If the ball is coming around the corner again, these guys here a lot of the time just 2 steps off the line, I'm just trying to push it towards the touchline. Because there's no need for me to blitz in the 15s, because you've only got 15 metres to go to. So there's no need for me to put a break of pressure on. Just push it towards the touchline and just look for the turnover there. Use the touchline. First phase defence, so if we go 3 up, say on a scrum rather than 4 up, we push up, let the 9 come in, then we push across. So drift defence, probably where it's most prominent still is our first phase defence, off the scrum. We'll see it way more off the scrum than we will see it in open play. Okay, it's where it's more advantageous. And then, again, if we're, sorry, yeah? Someone said?
So it's kind of the 9, you said the 9 coming in, but surely that's only from the right-hand side or left-hand side of the scrum.
Yeah.
Because he's inside with the 7 and they're pushing up. But the other side, he's got to run around, he might as well go second. Well,
oh, completely. If we're defending a left-hand side scrum there and we go 3 up, because our 9 is coming, 9 pushes on to 10 and we push across. So absolutely, that's what we're looking to do there. But dead right. And then again, so like passive threat, if we want to get a poach over the ball, and then if we're severely numbers down. So if we've been caught sat down on the blind side and we've got 5 defenders on 9 attackers, you've got to go soft. It just has to be done.
Or if they have fast ball, they have very, very quick ball,
Yeah.
then you have to drift.
If it's very fast ball and your numbers down, you've got to drift. You have to go because you're not going to shut them down quickly enough. Because you can't afford to take a gamble, bringing your winger all the way in and just hoping he gets there. Now, if you're on your try line, then you'll get to points where wingers have to make decisions. Do I go for the ball, or do I go for the man, or do I hold my width? That's different. But when we're in open play, if you're severely numbered down and they have quick ball, we have to drift because it's suicide not to.
You've got space, you drift.
Sorry?
If you've got space from the try line, you drift.
Absolutely. If you're too close to your try line, you just have to be very careful with that because they're just going to double his weight then. Guy goes into contact, inside man comes in, gets a shoulder on, suddenly what would usually be a neutral tackle is you're conceding 4 metres because you've made it quite passive. Okay, a few small examples. This is the one we showed already, just going to show it again. Hunting from the inside. Your job's never done on a drift defence. Once the guy leaves your lane, you keep hunting. Again here, up, out. Still working, still working, still working. Those guys are still pushing across, even though their lane is free. Same thing again, on set piece, on to 10, drift. Still working, he's gone, still working, makes the tackle here, because we're still hunting high from the inside. Same principle again here, up, out. Pushing, still working, push, push, tackle's made. Then if he's quicker to that ball, you can use for a jackal threat there if you want to, but realistically you're trying to prevent the line break there at that point. Okay, you understand? So I always say, the phrase I would always use, hunt from the inside, hunt high. So once you defend your lane, once that guy has left your channel, you push him and you keep coming up. So it's the reverse of shutting the gate. You shut the comeback. So that ball can't be swung back on the inside. So as soon as that guy leaves my channel, I'm not just pushing, I'm pushing high. I'm going on a 45 and I'm going this way and I'm taking away that reverse snap play and I'm pushing the guy beside me. And the closer we do that, we're just pushing them towards the try line, to the touchdown line. Same thing here. Why is it good? It's low risk. Okay, it's low risk in the sense that we're not shooting and we're not risking that disconnect and we're not risking those dog legs. Okay? There's really high connectivity if we do it well. You know what you're doing, I know what I'm doing, and when you go, I do your job. Simple as that. Really simple what we're doing. There's not specific detail on you're on the pull, you're on the push, you're on the tips. It's just defend the lane. Defend your 8 metres. Okay, so with high connectivity. So because of that, we're minimising the amount of times we create dog legs or create disconnects between our players.
again, we expose turnovers. So if we can push them laterally, and we can get that, so if I'm pushing, I make the tackle, the guy who's 5 meters this way, as soon as he sees that tackle coming in, he turns back. If he needs to tackle assist, then he can come in, but if not, he's straight over. And because we made the tackle sideways, this is why we spoke about momentum of the tackler. When he goes down, why is it so much easier to jackal when he's this way rather than that way? What can I do? So he's lying this way, I'm jackaling this way. What can I do with my legs? Just stick them in underneath.
Yeah.
I've got something to push against. But as soon as it's long body, I'm relying on my split stance. I'm relying on just my body weight. So the momentum there is important. So that's why it is again. And of course, when we say turnover opportunities, it means use of the touchline as well. 16th defender. So that is an advantage there. Right, more importantly, where are we vulnerable there? Why are people not using it? And then why is it weak in places? Soft shoulder, show and go, wide and flat. Flat, obviously, we'll discuss that in a second. Why? And then our loop and pull play, which is probably the point that's overlooked when people are going, how do we beat this drift defence? Because it actually can be quite effective if someone just pulls it out of our hat sometimes. Okay, soft shoulder. Here's our two attackers. Drift defence is going out. Okay? Often, the being too eager is the demise of most defences. Being too eager to make the tackle. Wanting to make the tackle too much can be your downfall sometimes. So if we say this guy here is overly eager to push out, he wants to make sure we get width. Where does our gap appear? On his inside. So he gets too eager, pushes too early, this guy attacks on, this guy attacks on, and we just play him back. So all it is just almost like a switched line but running straight. So we're not actually switching, we're just taking a soft shoulder. So it just takes me as a 10 to square up, interest this guy, push him out, he starts buying time this way, and we just play it through. Same sort of principle again from the same position. This guy gets over eager, we mimic the same play, but I can just take that line. I don't have to use him. I can just play through that space myself. Because the space is actually in front of me. If we play it to the guy coming hard, he's playing into my space. The space is in my channel. So if it's in front of me, take the shortest route. If the shortest route is in front of you, you go. Doesn't matter who you are, play. Play through that space. Same principle here. Why do we play flat as opposed to deep on a drift?
They're coming up as hard.
So they're not putting us under pressure. And it's the distance. So if we play deep, here's a flat pass, here's a deep pass. Here's a flat pass, here's a deep pass. Every pass about 6 meters longer when we play from deep. There's no need for us to play from deep here because they're not pressuring our passing. So play nice and flat. We can afford to play without any forward screens here. Just play straight across the front. Get our forwards, if we have, remember those two forwards that were here? Get them to run forward and just play at the back of them. Play as flat as we can. Get them to sit back and play straight across the front of them. We can afford to miss pass on this if we want to. But ideally, we just go pass, sit them down, long pass or little chip over to the far side. Because we can get outside them here. Drift, straight across the front and tap the outside. Because we're flat, it's the shortest route. Alright? Last thing then, this is the one that maybe isn't touched on as much. Okay? We did a bit on this actually with the full-time academy guys there last week on attacking from an attacking perspective. So we play here our drift. Again, they're a bit too close, but it was just the editing was messing around with me. Here's our ball, here's our 10. Okay, here's our 12, say. Two players. I play the pass here and I play the loop. Okay, simple loop. As soon as that pass is given, what can this guy now do?
Show and go.
So he's given the pass. He is the ball. What can this player do?
Stay inside.
Huh?
Inside.
Support the inside. Okay, what else?
Wait.
We're drifting.
Wait, so
Block that one.
Who said block? So this guy just ball, loop, step through. And once he steps through, all these guys are out of the game. Because you can't drift past this defender now. So once you take that step through onto the ball, and you take out that defence that's drifting, this guy just hits your shoulder, and it doesn't just prevent this guy from drifting, it prevents this guy from hunting high. Because if he hunts high, he's not doing anything because there's no one inside him. This guy's still here. So you're taking out not just this guy, but all of these players. So we stick our, and it's the same with any pass. If you want to take it really aggressively to the line, so even never mind a pull or a switch or a loop. If you just want to take it really aggressively to the line here, just hard shoulder, pass, step through. Don't even need to be a loop. So by putting our shoulder through, we take away the drift defence. And it's the same principle with a pull pass, as I call it anyway. Stick our 10 in here. He takes the ball, play it out the back. He sticks the shoulder in. Whoever makes the pass, as long as it's within 2 steps of where you play the ball, there's no reason you can't stick a shoulder on the attacker. And I just practiced that really simply. 3 players, pad in the middle. So in the middle of the 3, so we've got like this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Pad here, take the ball, pass it, attack onto the outside shoulder of the pad, pass it, take out the pad. Just the outside shoulder. And I'm usually the one holding the pad. And I say, there's your free shot. Have a go at me. Whenever I didn't play you or ever had a go at you, take my shoulder out. And get them to come through and take the shoulder off the pad. And get confident doing it. Because it's really effective. Same principle. So again, take out that soft shoulder. Take these guys out of the game. You're doing nothing for us there. Okay? Very quickly. So any question on the drift? We're actually done the heavy stuff now. We're going to go on to sort of some more discussion stuff. Any questions on the drift or anything we've covered so far? Any comments? We're going to go on to some, just a quick one I wanted to show for anyone that has interest in it, and just from a very basic point of view.
Yep. One of the drift. So, rock happens over there. Drift, if you go back now, let's say you just get tackled where the first purple is. Right, so policy from there that you have, is it a twofold policy? What is the next set of for defense then? That's your 9 plug?
Scrum half decision.
Okay.
Scrum half and fullback's decision.
Right.
So as that ball goes, our policy should always be, if you're not used on the blind side for this one, so say if you're not used here, these 3 guys that haven't been used, follow the ball, and then we're numbering up. So we're looking for him, and say the rope, so you're saying this guy made the tackle.
Oh yeah, the tackle's made on first.
This fella's calling the fold. He makes the decision on whether we're numbers up or numbers down, like between him and 9. So what we're looking for is this fella, and you see it in some clips of a school's clip, if I have time I'll throw it on from the school's final, is this guy's here, yeah, numbers, and 9 just go, you go. He might even not know where he's going, but the 9 sends that player around, and the 9 is just watching for that, sorry, the guy coming around the corner is just watching for that direction into where he's going. But we're always going to 2, so he should be coming in here. But we're sending him from here, send from here, these guys push in. So we're never doing this, because they're out the game. So shortest route as possible to the far side. Here to here, push in. Him to here, push in. These guys push out. Does that answer the question? Yeah.
So you guys have no policy. So you leave it in the hands of the player to make the call based on what the defense is doing in front of them.
Absolutely.
You got no 2 forward, 1 forward,
Nope.
3 for nothing, none of that.
Absolutely not.
And they come in, so they come into that pillar channel.
Into the 2 channel.
Into the
2 channel.
So the pillar sticks and he goes around.
Pillar sticks. Say you have a fold here.
Yeah.
He goes to there. He stays. He pushes out.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Could you do it on
Yep.
the, because I didn't see.
Absolutely. So what we're looking for, okay? Got loads of stuff here. What we're looking for is our attack principles, fellas. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Right. So say this is our rook here. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got a 1, a 2, a 3, and we've got our winger. That's 9 behind the rook. We've got 1, 2, 3 open, and then we can call it, say, A, B, C. Again, that's if you want to go to that much detail. If you want to go 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, you can go pillar, post, A, B, C, D, whatever you want to do. Then you just have, say, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have 1, 4, 12. You'll have your, over this, of your fullback, winger, and probably 1 more. We're looking at, right? So, question there is, rook happens here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're drifting. Rook happens here. Here's our rook now. A's made the tackle. 3 becomes the 1, so we'll draw it down here is what it would look like now. Here's our rook. A's on the floor. 3 becomes 1. 2 comes straight to 2.
Fold on the other side, in the sense of.
So let's look firstly at, say we're numbers on first. I'm going to do that one as well, right? So just as a principle thing, the first thing you do is, before you think about folding, is understand where you are on this side. So this guy's pushing in. He's just making sure firstly, if I don't fold, I'm not needed to fold, and the numbers are actually snapping back this way, I know where I am here. And then I know I'm 2, and then I have to fold. So I don't want to see guys, rook happens, I don't want to see this happen. Rook happens, here, guy just gets tackled and going straight past it. If I go straight past it, they can just play, 9 can play through that space then.
Yeah.
9 can just pick and go back to the way we just came from. So we always secure that spot first. Make sure we know where we are if we don't need to fold. Because sometimes you're not needed to fold. They're going to snap back to the blind side, they're going to pick and go, anything like that, right? So just be clear on that. 1 becomes 3, and then we push across here. You get someone probably up off the ground here. Okay, whoever was here is going to get off the ground. They'll become A, B, C. 14 is probably going to go back to the backfield. 15 will push across. 11 comes up. We understand that movement. Okay, now, these guys here. At this point where this rook was, if nothing changes, B becomes 1, C becomes 2, D becomes 3. There's your 11. Now, what we have now is 15 here, 14 here, 9 is here. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You have one more. This is where we're talking about folding. Okay? In this principle, most teams are probably going to go same way. Okay? And then snap it back, unless we're sure they're a very dynamic team and playing pod this side, pod that side, right? This is where we talk about folding. That extra man that we're talking about is more than likely one too many over here. So it'll be like the 14 is defending no one. He's not defending anyone, right? So what we'll be looking for then is, as they come across, this guy here, this winger, or the 3, probably the winger, is calling that. So winger here is calling the fold. Yes, numbers here, numbers here, numbers here. That extra guy then is essentially out here as a D. This guy's defending no one. So what we're looking for is this guy's calling the fold, we're echoing it at 9. So 11 calls, 9 echoes to the blind because they probably can't hear everything. They can see the hand, but we need to echo everything. Golden rule of defense, if he's saying something, make sure you echo it, right? So we're looking then for the fold here. So what we're just going to have then is 11, 3 pushes out to A, 2 pushes out to 3. This guy comes in here. And then we have
11 tells 9 and 9 tells to the number 2 come fold this way.
communication in, from the outside in. So then we have 11, we have 3, 2, 1, rook, and we've gone from 4 on this side to 5 on this side. 1 stays, 3 pushes in, and everyone just pushes in 1.
One position.
We have 1, 3 becomes 2, 3, A, B, C.
Can I just, for devil's advocate,
Yep.
ask, at the moment that you send 2 around now,
So
that
1
was-
around.
that was the gap where 9 can snipe now. So if the next guy doesn't react quickly enough, so my question is, why would you not send 3? Is it just too far for him to go?
Because he's out of the game for too long. Okay? Remember we said the pillar is the shortest route from here to the try line? Because that's the most efficient. Same thing with defense, efficiency is key. So if we can get from here to here as quickly as possible, here to here is too dangerous. Because it's too easy for the 9 to just go. The next shortest route is 2 to 2. The next shortest. So it just means if he's going, if I'm the 2 and I'm going, I just have to go push in. And that's it. That's all the chat that's needed from me to my outside man. It's just me saying push in. He's got to react. So that's why I say heads up rugby all the time.
But you will only push if he takes your space.
Absolutely. So it should be, so the movement I'm looking for, just so I have a bit of space is, the movement we don't want if I'm folding from 2 to 2, it's not this. Okay, the movement I'm looking for is if I'm coming here, push into my space, and I'm going this way. It's just that tiny bit of micro chat from me to him. Because he's focused on what?
Watching the ball. And
The ball thread on this side. So you need to be his eyes on this side. You're 2, you 2. You pull in, you push, whatever your chat is, and you decide that. What am I going to say? What way are we going to comment? Does that make sense? Happy enough? Lovely, that's a good point there, and hopefully that gives you some clarity on the way I would see it. Right, so we've got that. Pushing on. Good chat. So our backfield very quickly. Roll of the 9 is important. Do we mirror the rook? Do we jump in and out of the line to where it's crucial? Or do we defend in the line? Different principles for different teams. The advantages of all of them. You can discuss it after you want. You could discuss all day about the roll of the 9. But mostly what I want to look at is the 13-2 and the 2-1-2. Sorry, 12-1-2. Okay? Those are the 2 main defences you're seeing there. 14-1 is suicidal. If you defend with 11-1-3, you're a maniac. In Northern Hemisphere rugby anyway. I don't know what it's like down in Southern Hemisphere, South Africa, but...
we throw the ball around.
Yeah, okay, exactly, yeah, I was going to say, because if you defend it that way, you're crazy. But what we're looking at here is, just, if the diagram's a bit skewed, just so you understand what I'm saying. Rook, eventual rook. So this is where the phase ends, just to give you the visual image, right? We've got wing here, our full back and our wing are up. So if the ruck is on this side, we're looking for a winger to be in the line. If the ruck is here, just looking for a winger on a half. So he's covering the chip kick and he's covering the back to fact he can get up. We don't want him the whole way up, we don't want him the whole way back. Okay? What are we going to see then when that ruck goes here? What sort of movement?
Swing goes
Wing is
up.
moving forward.
Yeah.
So ball goes, carry, that's what we're looking for. It's a swing little pendulum. Okay, so we just changed places. And again, communication here, massively important. Okay, I'll show it again just so we're sure. It's just pushing one space across. Okay? Other principle then being, if we stick the 9 in, okay, so we take one out of the line, we're one less out here. Okay, so our spaces are probably a little bit wider, or we're defending a narrower channel. We take the 9 in. 9 is going to be doing what we said earlier, that 30-degree line. Okay, where he's an option, but we still do the same. Just means that 9 takes a 30-degree angle, rather than just not being there. And he's the one, like we said, covering that chip space in behind. Okay? Happy enough? Small points, we've all seen most of this before. Okay, just want to show you a couple of things now that we've done defence as a whole group. A couple of times when defence isn't exactly great. What are we missing here?
Pillar.
Number one.
Okay, that's why again pillar is so important. What are your 2 decisions as a back 3 when the ball's coming towards you? You can do 1 or 2 things.
You as a back.
As a back, so as that last defender, you can do 1 or 2 things. So you can buy, shadow. You can buy time. You can shadow him, or you can go. In that scenario, what did he do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. So it didn't make either decision. So when you're speaking your back 3s, your wingers, your fullbacks, just get them to make a decision. Either you go for the ball, or you shadow him, and you can buy time. Same thing again. Another example from the same game.
Go, what again?
We've no interior.
A 9 I took pull out earlier.
Okay? Look what's happening though. Look at these guys. Look. See, this is what I said why we only go 2 to 2. These fellas are asleep.
Fucking marathon.
Here, push.
What? They're from the
Shortest line.
Must be games.
We take the shortest line every time.
The shortest line.
Shortest line into the defence. Yeah.
But on that defense, if you just go back, I might be wrong. I played 9, but I blame the 9 because as a 9, I should have realized to plug the gap a lot earlier.
I would say plug the gap earlier, but what was he actually trying to tell them to do?
Trying to tell me to go around, but he wasn't looking at what the attack was doing.
No, he wasn't, and I'd agree with that. But that's again, like I said, defensive philosophy is a 9. What, as a coach, have you told your 9 to do? So if you've told your 9 that you want him to plug the gap, then he has to do it earlier. And if you said, fellas, we fold the 2 and 9 stays, well then these fellas have screwed it. Because they've screwed you as a 9 then, because you're standing there going, well fellas, the concept was to go in, why are we not there, you know?
But aside from that, just if you play the clip again, look at the 3 guys that are running.
Yeah.
Stop. Now look, just pause it. Can you pause it?
It doesn't pause it.
Okay, so if you
what's the point you're trying to
if you go back, look at those three guys running. Look at their body direction and their heads.
Yeah.
None of those guys know where the ball is.
I'm looking back at the ball and saying, okay, look,
someone's this.
Unless we're expecting a kick every time, that defence is doing nothing.
Absolutely.
And no team kicks that much. So again, that's why my belief constantly fill, push, then everyone's effective. Another one, same game again. If I was the Rebels defence coach, I'd be shot.
Who is the defense coach?
Okay.
Also, bro.
Look what our problem is here though. Again, where's our backfield? 9 is shadowing, but why is the fullback over here?
14-1.
Or if it is a 13-2, he's all the way up, too far on the other side of the ball. And again, shooter, disconnect, over the top.
Forward puck.
That was kind of forward, I think, marginally. But remember we said about connections? If we go, we've got to go together. Goes on his own.
But look at that whole defensive line.
Whole defensive line is all over the place.
It's not a line.
Last one, off line out.
Defensive movement.
Okay?
Defensive zigzag.
But look here. Have a look at our defensive line here. Watch our 15. Remember we said, buy time or go. So in this scenario, that fullback either has to go for the tackle, or buy time. Does none of the 3.
That one's his.
Okay? You've got to make a decision.
What party's on in Melbourne tonight?
Yeah, he's really
Okay, I'm going to skip through a few things. Okay. Anyone in the back turn together, anyone in this row turn together, and we'll just make 3 groups. And just on a pad, right, I just want you to write down, in your opinion, write down the process of the tackle. So hand position, foot position, anything like that. As much detail as you want in bullet points. You can have 12 different stages if you want, you can have 5. And then I just want you to write down, I want you to dial that down to if you have to coach a group of players right now, how much of that detail are you going to give them? So how many of those points? And fellas, just to be clear, you might get to a point where you actually say, I've got 12 core factors and the 4 that I give the players are nothing like these. They might not sound anything like what you've written, but how are you going to coach it to your players? Okay? Just the tackle now. Do you want to jump up to the front there? Do you want to jump up to the front, guys? There's 3 guys in this group here.
Well, he said let's give them quite a few.
So you have to be cognizant of the processing of the players. Yeah. Outside of we'll understand it because so this is like one session. This is one session.
So the first thing I want to do in tackling, what your defender to do. To execute the tackle.
Position.
Always on your toes. You can't defend flat foot. Always on your toes. Yeah. He's going for that. Yeah, he's a hands up.
Give you like another minute there, we're just really far behind. We had some great discussions that I wasn't even anticipating. So just take another minute, just write down, just get as far as you can. Get as far as you can. And then you can finish these discussions later then if you want, as a group.
Outside leg with your.
There's a bit tight on time when we do a pitch session after.
With the power, you can
Power in the legs. Ankles in the legs.
Body height.
High, low, high, before you make the tackle, you must burst.
a bit more of a when the moment you make contact.
So you say
short steps.
in for the hips.
That's what you don't want to move up, you want to move from here down.
So now think if I've got 2 meter tall rocks, they can actually compete in the air.
Very close.
So if I teach, if I teach for guys that can hold guys up and grab the scrum, then I'm going against one.
But that's not a tackle though.
Yeah, that's
It's not a tackle.
A tackle is when 2 players go to the ground. That's a strategy.
Okay, but
That's not the same.
okay, so let's think about it for a second.
No, we have to give the
When the
tackle process.
player gets his stats and tackles made, every single one of the ones that it's a good it's a good tackle.
But let's say it's not. Because the law of tackle is not there.
Okay, listen. You say the tackle is not there, but his count according to the stats given to everyone is called a tackle. Not the push.
You're not gonna stop the guy's momentum like that unless you have it. We're not coaching anything better. We're working in normal.
You must coach a normal one-on-one tackle. That's what you need.
What is the tackle process?
Look, I understand that you have to teach the tackle, but I'm saying the first team work
First team, yes, they have a tackle process. Then you can make a decision whether you tackle it or not. That's a different story.
So here's the thing. You had a lot,
but it's a tackle process.
You had a lot. You got employed simply because you can hold a guy up. What's the problem?
Where he goes, because the it's quite nice if you've been out.
I know it's a very short discussion, but I just want to prime. What I want to do, fellas, is guys, we good there, yeah? Okay. Look, I know I'm cutting it very short, but I don't actually want us to even get to the point where we have a full tackle process done up, because if you look at, say, I think it's been a while since I read it now. I think when I was looking at it, they were saying the All Blacks coaches decided on 12 factors, but they discussed 3 with the players.
Okay, so it's that difference. So I'm trying to stress the difference between. So all I want to do is just open that discussion about the difference between the two, and I just want to share some stuff with you that you might find interesting in terms of the way we look at it and the way I dial it down, because the difference is information overload. I'm especially familiar with that in terms of the way we look at data as well, is we can't be affording to give players 12 different factors, because if we give them 12 different factors, how many of those are going to remember? And I heard that down in the back room there. It's really important. How many of those are they actually going to remember? Okay? But importantly there, the one thing I thought I'd put up for you is we do a skill assessment thing here for some of the players. So we look at how good they are at doing passing and how good they are at doing tackling and like that. And we dial it down to 5 things. There's 5 things that that's what we're saying, very simply for a player. 5 things look for them to do really well on that. And you can't even see it there, you kind of see it. But I heard a lot of this. I heard someone said all of them. So the use of small steps, massively important. Okay, shorten our feet before contact. Our foot position, I heard that I think down the back, where we place our foot, okay, in relation to where they are. Okay, our hand position, I heard someone say boxer in this group, the boxer position, yeah, getting our hands up early, okay, getting low, mentioned plenty of times, good to hear that as well. I heard hip square as well, which is good, because a lot of us miss that, keeping our hip square and not trying to make every tackle facing on a 45 or facing laterally. Okay, heard same foot, same shoulder down the front, really important, just even for, not just for safety, but for control, the power you can apply by bringing the same foot and the same shoulder through. Okay, making a firm shoulder contact is important as well. So making a firm shoulder contact. So not just trying to get our foot in the right position and getting contact on, but when we do get our shoulder on, we want to be coming through with power and just connecting and keeping that connection. So we don't want to tap, we don't want to hit with the shoulder and then have them bouncing back into our arms back here and then going through. When we make the contact, we're trying to shorten that space as much as possible. Keep us as tight to that attacker as possible. And then finally then obviously punching our arms through, heard that here as well, punching our arms through, wrapping, and then taking them the whole way to the ground.
And the chasing,
Heads up. So there's a couple of some of the things I want to show you about language, so I'm going to have a look at it, but absolutely keeping our head up. Important part here about our approach. So when we get low, that we don't go flying down, and especially not just our body shape and our body direction, but the way we look. That we keep our head up when we're looking over. We say looking over sunglasses. You bring sunglasses down here, looking over the top. Big good cue for that.
South Africans should be used to that.
He's always taking piss out of me for this.
No, but they always coach in shades.
I think a couple of people probably use it. I think one thing that I stress when I do tackling is that the tackle's not complete until I am a tackler, I'm back into action again.
Yeah.
So for me, a lot of importance is my RTAs. After tackle, what do I do next?
So post tackle effort, essentially, as I call it. So I've got that's what a few slides on that for you at the very end here. Remember that traffic light system we were talking about? So our post tackle effort, do we assist in the tackle? Do we counter ruck? Do we bounce out? Or do we go for the poach? Those are our 4 options. And then obviously that can be a policy thing. So we can say if we're in our 22, let's have, tackler must contest, or if we're in the R22, then we try and get a tackle assist on everything and try to get a turnover. That can be a policy thing. But yeah, that's massively important. That's just when we're looking at the tackle in isolation. Just the pure tackle, but I completely agree with you there.
Sorry, the chasing of the
chasing feet.
Yeah, feet.
That's here where we're just looking for, it just says drive the attacker backwards here. Just you can't, the text is just kind of smaller, but driving the attacker is that 5th point for us. Is we get our feet in, once we've completed the wrap, pump, 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 win the battle backwards and finish the tackle fully wrapped, not free, and going backwards. Core factor for us. But again, I'm just starting that discussion. I don't say none of that. A couple of images I want to share with you. Maybe you might have seen some of them before. What do you think that has to do with the tackle?
The position of the neck.
Okay.
Further from the
arm. Interesting. Okay. What do you think it means?
You're at full reach there, so you shouldn't execute.
What is he doing?
He's reaching
What's he doing?
Extending.
No, just he's punching. Just keep it simple. He's punching. So what are we punching? In a tackle.
Past the body shape.
Punching our arms through. So we talk about cueing a lot with players. How do we get them to remember the real complex things? So if we keep our hands up but we want to punch through the tackle. So it's a cue for our player. We punch through. 2 arms here, straight around the back as tight as possible, and then finishing here. So it's a nice little cue for our players. There's a few other interpretations of it, but just a few things that I use in my coaching. I heard someone say this one. What's that? What position is that?
that boxer position we spoke about. Hands up, protect them. It's the same when we're tackling. Stronger here, yeah, because and we keep our arms up here and we can do more with them. Even if we get some sort of, what you said about cutting a line back across, if we've got an attacker coming into my channel who isn't my responsibility, if my hands are here, I can actually get into that channel. If I've got my arms down here,
So the reaction time is much slower actually from the bottom.
Absolutely, and one cue to remember, have a watch of this specifically with your players next time you do defence. Your players do this, really, really good hand position, super, tackle comes in. We do that because this is the cue I use for that. Chicken wings. You know chicken wings? How you just watch a chicken try and move your arm to do this. Because they haven't got any more movement than this. So I say this to my players all the time. We start here, and the most movement from here is this. We don't do this, we don't do that. Hands start high in the boxer, and we chicken wing out. We're just looking for a small little motion. So I just go, walk past and go, chicken wings. Knows exactly what I mean. He knows just got to keep my hands tighter to my body. They're starting now, but they're going down here. But they're going all the way here, then coming back in. We keep them as tight as we can, just like chicken wings, right? This is an interesting one. I said this to Dan last week. When FIFA only came out, they had this thing called a FIFA circle. You know, when you switch to a new player. Switch to a new player in FIFA and it tells you which player you're using by putting a circle around them. We talk about putting our foot in towards them. Always say we don't plant our foot till we're this close. Just about half a metre away. So I always say, we call it critical distance, the collision zone, or the FIFA circle. Those are the three words I've used. Three phrases. Collision zone, contact zone, or contact zone even, and FIFA circle. So for young players especially, in the FIFA circle, if I plant my foot here and he's over there, well then I'm just going to sit down and going to go past me. I get my feet nice and tight, short feet, and I get my foot in then, once I'm close enough. Another one, interesting one, anyone know who that is?
Dennis the Menace.
Dennis the Menace. When I was in London Irish, right, one of the most bizarre words I've used. You know, hit and stick, in the tackle, hit him, stick him. Used to call the phrase hit, stick, menace, like you spoke about there. Hit, stick, menace the ball in one way or another. So menace wasn't just get the ball back, it was fucking slow it down. So it was we menace with it. We go for it if we can, or we slow it down, or we just roll nice and slowly.
There we go.
Okay, so it's a nice little phrase, hit, stick, menace. And the point is you can use one of the three in isolation. So once you've introduced that to your players, and they're not doing something right, you just go, menace. And he goes, fair enough. Because we keep it as simple as possible. The last one then, what's that? What does that have to do with anything? That's why I'm sharing these, because you might not have heard a lot of these before. So if you're tackling me, draw a big L hoop between my feet, and just step in it. So I just call that foot in the hoop. Another one you call is break their laces. So two shoes laces tied together, step on them. That's how you know you're in the right spot. If you can break the laces, same thing. If you draw a circle there, if I can step in it, I'll put my foot in the right place. So small little cues like that players understand because they're nothing to do with rugby. They're just phrases. And those small little cues, they're really, really effective, especially like every age. Done that with everything, the women's, men's, boys.
It's external cues.
External cueing, exactly.
What's Ivan's name?
Nick Wiggler, is it?
Yeah.
Nick, sorry, external cueing, yeah. Exactly the same thing, giving them an image to see. And giving them an image to visualize, not just a movement. This is the things I would say. Consider these when you're putting your tackle tech in. What images can we give them? So, chicken wings, basketball hoop, laces, language. What can we say that they'll understand? If I'm coaching a group of 18-year-olds, I'm going to talk about a FIFA circle. If I'm coaching a bunch of grown men, I'm probably not going to talk about a FIFA circle. I understand which language is applicable when I'm coaching my defence. And then, like we said, this is the point I'm coming back to. How much detail can I afford to give them? Would I maybe be better off talking about boxer stance and chicken wings rather than talking about bring your hands up, keep them tight, short circles? Depending on my player age group and my player ability group. If they're weaker and younger, maybe I use my images. If they're older and more advanced and at a higher level, maybe I talk about the detail. So understanding what level of detail they can apply. This is what we asked about here quickly about language. 2 points of contact is another one I use. Your hands should touch twice when you tackle, in my opinion. So we don't just go to boxer. Box would obviously just be here. We touch. So when I look for my players to do it, and you see it, when you see it in the video, it always works when the guys do it. We touch like this, because it forces you to do what?
To open up.
Well, it forces you to bring your hands together.
Oh yeah.
Because boxer, they can just do this sometimes. It's still too wide. If I say I want you to touch your hands, you have to touch your hands for your tackle in training. They do this. And then when we come through, the second point of contact is when we wrap. So just 2 points of contact. One before, one after. We do both of those, we'll be fine.
It helps you keep your hips square as well.
Oh, absolutely, because you're squaring up your whole body. By bringing your shoulders in, you're squaring everything up.
It doesn't help if you want to tackle chase and goal with your hands together.
Yeah, well, exactly. You need a bit more mobility to do that. I think just like keep yourself as wide as possible and hope for the best. And I think as well as that, was someone said, I think this was another one. This is that hit, stick, menace principle. And then if you just want to simplify, just hit and stick. You can adjust your language depending on what you're not doing so well. So you can come to games sometimes and you've got players, you make tackles, but then they just get up. We don't complete them. Well, then maybe just go, this week, fellas, you get your coaches together. Right, this week, fellas, really core focus. Just every tackle, hit and stick, hit and stick, hit and stick. And drill that into that muscle memory. Hit and stick, hit and stick. Make sure they understand what it means first.
And what happens when you get the reps, in fact, you're not rolling away quick enough, you start blowing you for not rolling away quick enough.
Well, then that's where we maybe bring this in. And we, what word have I mentioned before that we can change here?
I'm more for the players now. Fuck, we've been training all week doing this, now we have to adapt.
So, what I spoke, remember I spoke about, I actually haven't got the hip to tackle thing yet, I've got about 4 minutes to do it. I talk about bounce, so instead of menacing, we bounce into the defensive line. So that means then, if your principle with the players is, every week it'll be hit, stick, something. It'll be hit, stick, menace, hit, stick, bounce, hit, stick, challenge, hit, stick, roll. And we change it depending on what we need to. So then in the game, you're getting blown penalties for tackle not releasing, getting penalties for not rolling. Bring it up like, fellas, listen, here's what we do. Hit, stick, then bounce. Hit, stick, then challenge. Hit, stick, then roll. And if it's ingrained enough in the psychology, it'll make sense. But absolutely, it's frustrating, but you just have to deal with the referees. This is one that we mentioned there. Same foot, same shoulder. Isn't that easy to remember? Same foot, same shoulder. Same cheek, same cheek. We've all heard in our coaching courses. That's the other one, short feet, short steps. I keep my feet short, I keep my steps short, and I keep my final step short. Make sure we're not lunging. How many times have we seen a player do really, really well? Short feet, short feet, short feet.
Swimming pool.
Yeah, swim, dive down. Our back should be flat, okay? This is the...
You know where that lunging thing comes from? You know,
this lunging thing, yeah.
You know it's because of the elbow several times. I can tackle that.
Yeah, fellas, that's a good point here. A lot of the time, we end up doing this negative tackling because of what we're training against. If we're tackling against, you know, the big sausage bags, I differentiate that. If you're going to tackle against those, we're doing that for getting comfortable with contact. Getting comfortable, getting, and more, I would say, personally speaking, I'd rather use the big bags for line speed training. Just getting off the line and attacking something. If you're going to tackle and focus on technique, pads or bodies. Because if you use those, like you said, you're attacking against pads all the time, we just get negative. Our body position should always be neutral to positive or neutral to negative. So we start neutral here, and then if we want to drive up and look for a choke even, we can do that. Or if we want to pick a leg then and go down, we can. But we never want to be going straight down into tackle. We've no power then. We're going straight to the floor. Last bit for a minute, post-tackle effort. The things we can do. Counter ruck. We can challenge for the ball. With 3 intents. We either challenge to steal, we challenge to win the penalty, or we challenge to slow the ball down. One of those 3 things. Never think that challenging for the ball is just to get it. We can do any of those 3 things. We can, and then the bounce step. We look to bounce, or we can tackle assist. Those are pretty much all of our options. Anything other than that, we're wasting our time. We either assist in the tackle, we get back up and we go into the line, we go in for the ball, or we go for the straight drive counter. Okay, if we're clear on that, we just set policy for that. You set policy, you just give your players free rein. You do what you see, but before you say play what's in front of you, which in my opinion always play what you see in front of you, just take 10 minutes in a training session and set out, like we said, the scenarios. Put a scenario down. What would be the most applicable here? The way I do it, and the choke, sorry, as well, that was supposed to come up. What I would do here is, this is my traffic light system I'm talking about. These are my 3 lines, or the way I would look at it. Red line, yellow line, or amber line, green line. And you just explain this to your players. I've got a red line tackle. I make my tackle here. What options would you say I'd probably have? Out of those options we just showed.
Slow the ball.
Slow the ball, because they're coming forward. Tackle assist. Make sure we complete it. Are we going to try and poach on the back foot? No. Not really, because they're going to have momentum coming into that ruck. Are we going to counter ruck on the back foot? No. Choke? depending on the height of the carry. But mostly, we're going to bounce. We're going to bounce out and give us some options, or we're going to tackle assist. That's what we're looking for. If we're in the middle, what options we got? So just kind of in line with the ruck, on the tackle line, we call it. What kind of options we got here? The jackal's a massive option here because it's a neutral tackle. Both teams have the same speed coming into the collision. So the jackal is a big option, bounce is still an option, and choke is a big option here.
Yeah.
Because you're both neutral. So if you can get under and hold, then you're in a great position for doing that.
Yeah.
Counter rucking, maybe. For me, as a principle, green ball is where you want to counter ruck. If the blitz goes through, and we're coming again all the way back to where we started, if the blitz goes through, we counter ruck straight through, we win the ball back. And that's how you judge the successful blitz defense. Straight through, you have momentum, they're going backwards to get in, you're coming forwards to get in, first guy blows them off the ball, second guy picks the ball up and we go. And then you're on the counter. And again, big part of your coaching defense, don't forget to coach transitions. Have them defending against someone and then blow the whistle and hand them the ball. Transition off that attack. Transition into attack. Kick if you want, but get 2 passes away or carry and play. Okay? I have a few sheets I'll get down maybe to go over before, but we've run out of time. A bit of first phase stuff, but like I have no problem running out of time there because I hope we all got something out of it because the discussion was deadly. It's a great discussion. Even this going around quickly there, we got a lot out of it. So look, I'll probably throw into the pitch anyway and have a watch. What have we got now? Pitch session? Practicals. So look, fellas, I really appreciate the discussion and the questions were great and there was really good learning between you. So I hope you got something out of it. And I think Dan recorded everything here, so give you a copy of it. I'll give you a copy of the presentation as well from YouTube, and that should do it for you. All right. Look, I've enjoyed the practical session anyway. All right. Thanks, fellas. Thank
So guys, for 4 o'clock, just make your way to the pitch. Okay, we'll start the coaching there. Okay, I'll have things out there for
Thanks, boss.
Is all the different presentations of all the different
And you made videos of all the presentations. From the school. Recorded you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, later we'll see how it came out.
From there, can you see the whole screen?
Yeah, I look in a way that most of the screen. Then I show you in the room.
Hello. Give me an email. Actually, I'll put a thing up here for you. There you go. There you go. Absolutely, absolutely. No one at all. Coaching lessons in basketball. Myself and Dan coach together. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Just his understanding of the defense.
Yeah.
Open up because we do a lot of practical ways. That's what you're explaining.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do physically.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think
we had about a 4-hour session and we're trying to fit everything into.
You're not fit ever. Like we didn't even get around to our first phase stuff.
Yeah.
But it was actually, I don't mind that because first phase you can coach in isolation. You can coach first phase.
You can break it down and say right, we'll do it here and then from
absolutely.
Here,
but if you understand your global defense.
Yeah.
Fucking way more important to understand your global defense, you know?
No, that's cool. Thanks a lot.
Not at all, mate. Well done.
Yeah. Is it okay, like 12 guys in, 9 all is back and 2 back?
Absolutely. No, that's perfect. So, no, that's perfect. So, where's your rook here? Here.
Here,
yeah.
Or anywhere, just 12 in front,
oh,
9
yeah.
all is at the front.
Absolutely. So, if we, come on, show them up here.
Without the corner guy going around?
Yeah, here's one here, right? So let's throw this one up. So here's the rook, yeah? So you can have 12 fullback, winger, scrum half. And then as the play goes, he comes down to here, So down here.
No, without going here and there, just.
Oh, just shift back and forth across.
And the two.
These two guys just do this.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do that, yeah. But the problem you're going to find there is you can just get kicked here, because when the rook gets to here, okay, he'll be here, and he'll be here, and you'll get kicked. But what we're doing when we push across, and when we do the pendulum, this guy covers the kick in the middle, and he covers the kick here. So if you just sit those guys there, and I'm attacking you, I'm the 10 here, I'm gonna fuck it down the middle, and I'm gonna get someone chasing. So that's why we push across, is because otherwise we get caught short here. Because in this scenario, he'd probably be this guy probably should be here, a little bit narrower. So that's what you can do it. But I would always say, if you can do this, do. Because it takes away the kick threat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can take away the kick threat by pushing across. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
So they have only 15 meters to cover the middle.
Yeah. So that's
both of them.
Yeah. So like you've got the problem you have here is that they will go.
Yeah.
But you get the ball here.
Yeah.
This line just comes straight forward,
Yeah.
and now you're under pressure. Where if you have the guy coming across, he comes on this angle. He's here. You have two guys to attack with. Guy here, coming down the channel. And this guy can come this way, kick, and he can chase. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's more about the transition for when if you do get the ball back.
Alright.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well done, no worries.
Thank you.
No.